I have to agree with some of the people who mentioned that this project should have been held off until the rezoning of the entire neighborhood went ahead. Why didn't you not just wait until the rezoning went ahead? Is there some real financial consideration here, given the economic market in such a downturn? Why not wait till the entire rezoning goes ahead, and then your project sits in with the overall scope of the area?
Well, one of the reasons is when we started in 2004, we had begun discussions with city planning. They talked about doing a framework and that they were going to move forward with the framework pretty quickly. And so we went forward. We entered into options for the properties and started doing our planning set aside from what the city was doing with regard to the framework. And later now they're talking about doing the rezoning, but as the councilman said, it's on again, off again, on again, off again. So it made sense for us to move forward, and we have time constraints and limits with regard to the options that we have on the properties.
But if city planning would have said to you, listen, you can't proceed until we do the rezoning, you would have had to listen to what they were saying, correct?
I would have entered into the options.
Okay, all right. Let's go over the environmental cleanup issue, because again, we talked about this. And I did ask for some background material on like the hotspots, and I only got it, I have to tell you, late on Friday. I would have wished to have gotten it much earlier so I had time to review it. Is there somebody here that can go over this in a little detail as part of the testimony?
First, let me apologize for getting to you late, but let me also say before Mimi speaks that these properties are no different from properties that Toll Brothers has developed in the New York City area. They're a classic urban fill. They have some hot spots. We've developed 450 condominiums in Williamsburg, and we did a large project in Long Island City, and Mimi can tell you that these properties are virtually the same in terms of what's in the soil. We did apply to brownfields for one of the blocks in Gowanus, and we were rejected because it wasn't dirty enough.
Sure.
First of all, identify yourself and move the mic closer.
My name is Mimi Ray-Gordetsky. I work at Environmental Liability Management, and I've been a consultant to Toll Brothers for several years on this project. Starting in 2004 and going into 2005, we thoroughly and carefully investigated this site. We completed a Phase 1 environmental site assessment, followed by 3 separate subsurface investigations of the property. During the Phase 1, we identified what's typically found in urban waterfront areas, and that is particularly cities as old as New York, a 100-year industrial and manufacturing history. There were a couple of USTs identified on the site, there were spill listings identified for the site, and there's also fill material present on the site when the Gowanus Canal was filled in the 1850s. During our testing program, as I said, it was very thorough. We installed 32 soil borings, 16 monitoring wells, and 6 test pits. We collected 59 soil samples and 17 groundwater samples. And what we found was what we expected. We found limited releases of industrial raw materials and other waste products that occurred over the long industrial and manufacturing history of the site. The constituents that were detected in soil and to a limited amount in groundwater included petroleum-related compounds that were significantly degraded due to the long residence time in the subsurface, along with other compounds typically associated with cinders and asphalt and urban fill material. On this site, there is a layer of clay located between 5 and 17 feet below grade, which acts as an aquitard, restricting the downward migration of contaminants on this site. Therefore, contamination is limited to the surface of the site. These constituents, the detection of these constituents really is consistent with our anticipated findings. And it's also consistent, as David said, with numerous sites that Toll Brothers and other developers have developed on waterfront sites, both in New York City and in other urban areas around the country. As important as what we did find is what we didn't find. This is not public place. We did not find large three-phase plumes of MGP, coal tar, or other significant contamination. We didn't find anything that indicates that this site is not suitable for proposed residential use.